Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our show, the Reading List podcast, brought to you by the poets of the Quill and Parchment Society. We are currently having a little bit of difficulty with Zach getting in. He keeps appearing and disappearing, so my guess is his connection isn't solid, but he'll get here. Speak of the devil, there he is. Hey,
Yo!
Zach.
Oh my goodness! I apologize.
I see you bouncing in and out. Don't worry.
Yeah,
the interweb.
Yeah,
What are
interweb.
you gonna do? Right.
It is what it is.
We can watch those old Gremlins movies and understand it a little better, I think.
Lord have mercy.
Welcome, Zach. Glad you made it.
I know.
Got
Right?
it.
Same.
Got
I
it,
couldn't even
got
hear
it.
the music. So I was like shuffling the settings and all kinds
Oh,
of stuff.
it dinged you in. I seen you pop in, and I was like,
I
"Ooh."
know, but I
Yeah.
couldn't hear the music. So I was like, does that mean that I can't hear you when you pop up or what? You know? So
Right. It said poor connection down at the bottom, and then
Uh-oh.
bounced to excellent, and there you were.
There we go.
Right.
That works.
How you doing, Zach? Good?
Yeah, bro. I'm feeling relaxed after my vacation. I just literally got home from plane rides, 2 plane rides.
It's funny because where you were isn't all that far from where I live. Really,
It's
it really
nice up
is.
there.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, I could see why. I love that state because there's plenty of nature and all sorts of fun stuff to do that we don't do down here in Indiana so well. Let's see, Zach. I've got a couple of things. We kind of need to get right into the show because we got a big show. First of all,
Right.
what we're not going to do a show next weekend because it is Easter weekend. Everybody's going to be with their families and stuff like that. Anybody that's got kids and all that, we'll just take it off next weekend, and we'll resume the following week, which would be the second Sunday in April. I'm not sure what the date is. I'll have to look, but second Sunday in April, we're going to go again and pick up right where we left off, which will be the show we announce April's Poet of the Month as well. That's what we'll do there. And other than that, we don't really have a great deal of stuff except for this. Zach and I, Harmo, we talked about, and this led to the conversation that I'm getting ready to have. We had talked about collaborations because he and Noel did a collaboration that we read last week that sparked an idea to do collaborations from within the group and do an entire show or two on collaborations where we work with someone from the group. And I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go. I think pick your partner is best currently, and we'll get that stuff all worked out. But it just has to be amongst group members because we would like to read those collaborations on the show. I had suggested 200 to 300 word totals, but I think we could go 3 or 4. Don't you, Zach?
Yeah. I mean,
and maybe do 8 poems per show because that's 16 poets that we're reading. So I like that idea of bumping up those preferences, but we'll get it organized, and it's going to be later in the year before it actually happens, the show, because I want to give everybody plenty of time to get with their partner and work it out. We all work in different time zones and live different places and stuff like that. So let's not put a bunch of pressure on it to whip through it and get it done for the sake of doing the show. What I would like is you guys to start independently picking your partner and working on your collaboration, and no theme, no any kind of restrictions. You could do friggin' haiku chains if you want, or you could do free verse. It doesn't matter to me because we love it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to do. You could do dark, you could do romantic, you could do funny, you can do whatever you want to do. However you and your partner want to do it, the only restriction is it has to be 2 people from our group, because legally we can't read anything if we don't have a release, and everybody signed a release when they come in the group. So that's really all we have. And we'll figure out the date for that show when I start getting information back from folks as far as what they're doing. Other than that, I think we're ready to begin. Unless you
All
have
right.
anything to add, Zach, you got anything to add?
No, it's just that it's good to be back and added it again essentially. So yeah.
Isn't that funny? There's a debate on vacation. Which is more exciting? The day you leave on vacation or the day you return home? Because they both have a level of excitement.
They do.
And you're grateful for both and excited about both for sure. All right. What do we got first, Zach?
So next, or first rather, we have our poet of the month, Dark Knight of the Soul, and that's your read though.
That's funny. I did say next, didn't I?
You got me with that too.
I realized after I said it, I was like, oh, I mean first. Okay. Here it is. Magpie on the Gallows by, as Zach mentioned, our poet of the month, Dark Knight of the Soul. Oh, magpie, magpie, what have you seen, perched upon the shambly gallows beam? O'er your skies of blue, of sea blue and hills of green, o'er your rolling hills on a murder machine. Perched upon the shambly gallows beams, 'tis but songs of mercy that I sing. O'er your rolling hills on this murder machine, I watch the guilty and the guiltless swing. 'Tis but songs of mercy that I sing, a voice for both the foul and fool. I watch the sinful and the sinless swing. Chack, chack, oh man, is both harsh and cruel. A voice for both the foul and fool, o'er your skies of sea blue and lands of green. Chack, chack, oh man, is both harsh and cruel. Oh, magpie, magpie, what have you seen? In poem. Well, that was different from Dark Knight, wasn't it, Zach?
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
This one sounded like a nursery rhyme, an off-kilter kind of nursery rhyme. But like Old English in a sense. The way the some of the words are essentially like older, or like kind of like two words combined together in a sense to make like a like give like an older sort of feel to the piece. And I like how indifferent the magpie is. It kind of watches over the sinful and the sinless alike. And that's kind of how it's like the magpie is like a sentinel, really. It just like kind of just definitely an observer and a voice for the foul and the fool. So I think, doesn't like a magpie echo somewhat of like what the other like I no, never mind. I don't know.
Yes, they do, Zach.
They really do that?
Yes,
the noises
yes,
of what
they do. They mimic.
Yep. Mimic, right. Yeah.
Yep, they do.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they were that.
I really like the direction you were going there, and I know it broke your rhythm when you stopped, but please.
Yeah. No, I got it back though. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's just I do like how like what have you seen? And more likely, what have you like spoken, or really like it's just like what like. Yeah, what have you seen? Because like you hear those cries, and it's like you kind of hear the agony in the cries, and it's just like kind of you hear the echo, and it's like wow, like how could the birds mimic the cries of like the dying? Essentially, that's kind of a wrenching thought, and not one I'm used to hearing from Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is easily the darkest piece I think I've ever read by Dark Knight of the Soul. Dark Knight of the Soul actually got dark on us, Zach. We were waiting on it. Yeah. I think he probably heard the podcast and said, you know what? I do have a dark one or two that I think I can let you guys read. But I first like this because it is like you said, Zach, you said the first thing that popped in my mind too. It's almost like a nursery rhyme, like an off-kilter nursery rhyme that's kind of scary And
Mhm.
not scary, but more creepy because this magpie is sitting where all this death happens and it's watching. And they are very observant because they're looking for prey all the time. And as it's watching, it has seen the guilty and the innocent swing and doesn't judge either way because it's just people swinging to the magpie. It's just a thing that's happening. And then it doesn't overtly say it, but what happens in the end? The magpie's looking for food.
Mm.
That's what it's looking for. But it doesn't say that. But that's where my mind went. My mind went, well, once they're swinging there, they're probably on display for a period of time. And that's what draws the magpie in because there's all this death and it is not judgmental. It's just the way nature views what's happening. Man is the one that puts the feelings into it. The creatures of nature, the birds and the bears and all the predators. I think I've said this before. I've watched plenty of stuff on animals and nature and stuff like that, and they don't kill because they're cruel. They want to dispatch prey and eat. That's what they're doing. They're trying to sustain their own lives. But I think what he's written here is a very eerie, creepy kind of thing that makes you think that magpie is sitting there watching. And there's no judgment from the magpie. There's not. Whether it's guilty or innocent, watched them both. Fools, watched it all and more than willing to participate in it. That's why it stays there. I really like that. That's a really good one, Dark Knight, and I love that he brought in the darkness there. The last poem that we read from him as poet of the month. So, what do we got next, Zach?
All right. Next up, we have Noel Nightshade's piece, and that one's entitled "Happiness is a Wish Upon a Shooting Star." And I'm going to give that a read. She gazes innocently out the window at a dark, starry sky filled with wishes. Her eyes aglow with wonder, holding a plush bunny, tiny lips slightly upturned, making pacts with glowing orbs in the sky. One falls, fingerprints and nose pressed on glass, watching her dreams come near. An abundance of love twinkles. Her parents read her theories of relativity and gravitational hypothesis every night, then tuck her into the warmest bedsheets, kissing her forehead. Good night.
Isn't that just sweet?
Yeah.
This was a very sweet piece. So I'm going to read the author's notes because there is some author's notes. For contest, happiness is ... in quotes, Oil Can Murphy. Word count 76. No way I was using the creation of this poem. I don't think we need anything from the author's notes to tell us what this is. It's just sweet. It's just sweet and pretty. I love that it's talking about, it says she gazes innocently out the window. So it doesn't infer like an age or anything right from the beginning. But then it says holding a plush bunny, tiny lips slightly upturned. That draws a beautiful picture of a child laying, hugging her bunny, looking out the window, and then thinking of all these things, the wonderful sweetness and the warmness that she's feeling inside as she's drifting off to sleep. I think it really does capture that. But then there's a thoughtfulness to it too. At the end, it says the last stanza, her parents read her theories of relativity and gravitational hypothesis every night, then tuck her in the warmest bed sheets, kissing her forehead. Good night. That is, to me, that is so funny that kind of thing is comforting to this child, because that's not very comforting reading. But it's fascinating to me as an adult. The fact that a kid would be introduced to that and it be comforting is kind of amusing to me in a way that develops into an adult that has maybe some sort of affinity towards astronomy, things like that. It's just kind of neat, and it's sweet, and scientific at the same time. I love the combination of the two. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, this is like the epitome of like sweet and pure, really innocence. You could just like see this child essentially just enraptured with imagination, and like her, she's clutching that bunny and just kind of gazing at what she is, or looking at she's looking at the stars but not quite understanding what they are. She's making pacts with them, but like she's like she's like playing with them in a way, like if they were what's that thing that like spins around, like the baby's cribs, that thing, whatever that is. It's like
Oh,
that she's
yes.
actually playing
A
with this orb
saucer.
that way.
We used to just
Yeah.
call it a saucer.
Something, yeah, she's playing with that. And she definitely has like an imagination to her, like and she's like, I just like that line the best, I think, making perhaps with glowing orbs in the sky, that kind of just um like making pacts, like if they were like living beings almost,
Mm-hmm.
more so than actual stars. She doesn't understand what the stars are yet. Maybe they are in a sense living beings, and that way it's kind of like intuition that she's kind of drawn to. And it's kind of beautiful, like the way the parents read theories of relativity, like and
Mm-hmm.
you would sense that kind of like that kind of makes the baby or the young one like a sponge almost, and like the for foundation, like it has a solid sort of like basis or base for foundational learning, like really like you were saying, deep reading that's gonna really aid the child for future endeavors, if that like that child really starts like getting into science or something like that. That would really that sort of would reinforce the child's brain in a good way, and I like
Absolutely.
that.
It,
And
it's
just
funny, isn't it?
yeah, uh it's beautiful, and I just like the way it ends. It's a very warm piece, warm and sweet.
You know what I thought about that piece, Zach? Actually, as you were talking about it, I know because you told me this. Your mom read to you a lot when you were young and started you reading at a very young age, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you understand this piece for what it is. It's a head start. I used to say, I don't like baby talking to my kids. I want to talk to them like adults because I want them to learn how to talk. And my dad told me when my son was 4, he said, "My God, son, he talks like an adult." And I said, "Thank you."
Mm,
But,
yeah.
because I felt like that was the right thing to do. So that's kind of what we all are connected to this, because we were children at one point in time and our parents did things to mold us into who we are. And that's what this is. I loved it. It was beautiful and sweet and kind, nice and starry and dreamy, scientific and emotional. A lot of ground was covered in that short piece.
Mm.
Now, what do we got, Zach?
Next up, we have Purple Gerber's piece, and that's your ego.
Paladin by Purple Gerbera. I have grown weary of endless wars and battles and fights. I forgot what once beauty was, in what lies fallen debris in sight. So much I lost for myself to win my land, against every odds, to defend my stand, only to be defeated and left strewn on the ground, not by my enemies or traitors around, but my own crown, whose silence was the loudest sound. I forgot for their I fought for their glory. I apologize. I fought for their glory, for the land I swore. What does one do when that's not the purpose anymore? When what you defend became your own enemy, and it chained you in dread, and you couldn't be free. How could I be steadfast in a battlefield rigged for our fall? And how could I go against it when bowing to the supremacy of all? What does one do when the morals and malice collide and don't know who you are and who's on your side? I grow weary of endless battles that I keep losing at their hand. I have forgotten what's beyond, ghost towns and wastelands, which was all my doing because I thought I defended my land. I thought I did the greater good. I thought I did best serving my crown. But I was wrong. I let the people down. So much I lost for myself to win the land, only to go off in an exile, unable to withstand who I was, a mere pawn, parading as a paladin, masking as a patriot, submitting to my own sins. I grow weary of endless battles and wars I thought I won before. I fought enough for glory, but I cannot do this anymore. End poem. Well, that was heavy. Want to give that one a go, Zach? You ready?
Yeah, sure. Um,
A notable change in your tone, too, Zach. That's how heavy this one was, wasn't it?
yeah. It's appropriate that way, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's serious. It's like it's point of view from a leader who really gave it their all, and this leader, she fought for, I guess she was a queen. She used to be a queen, and she felt like she just felt steadily taken down in a sense by her own people, let down by her own people, backstabbed and betrayed. And there's a feeling of like steadily as the poem goes down, like closing in on all sides, and an increasing sort of paranoia and weariness. And by the end of it, like the speaker is essentially a little more and more downtrodden, and you know, like I don't think it's gonna uh it's just not gonna end well because she can't do this anymore. That's what she says by the end of it. Like despite what happened, despite what, like all the fight that she has is gone, because nothing. It's like she feels like nothing. Because I mean, if the people betrayed her, and she's just basically, and she's a queen, then like she feels like she's fought for nothing essentially. Maybe she was fighting for herself, but in the end, she just feels defeated, and that's really sad.
I felt the same way, Zach. As you read down it, I mean, obviously the purpose of this, it's written with the thought in mind, like you said, of a leader that is just absolutely tired of the fight. The fight could go on, but she's starting to see there's just the only thing that's going to come from it is more death, more, destruction, more lives shattered and things like that. But, she felt like she was in the right in the beginning. And I don't think by the end, she's questioning right and wrong. It's just about the devastation. And she's tired of all the loss and things like that. And I felt like this was a really good extended metaphor for any struggle you may have on the inside too. I did feel that it definitely come across that way to me, like it could be an internal struggle that's the same, and you want to be in control of it, but say you're fighting depression or something like that, and I'm just saying examples, not saying what it made me feel, but if you're fighting depression or something like that, that battle is ongoing and continuous, like a toothache. A toothache's pain level is not usually that high in the beginning, but the sustained amount of time that you endure it makes it almost unbearable. And that's what I feel like this is. It's like a toothache. It just slowly and gradually just gets, heavier and heavier and heavier and harder to maintain. So I really like the feel of what Purple Gerber was putting down there. It's a very well written piece and read real nice too. I may have gotten a couple of spots there where it was a little bit rough, but that was on me, not on the piece. I just hadn't caught the rhythm yet. So I really, really enjoyed that piece, and I thought it was well done with a little bit of darkness. What do we got now, Zach?
So I'm kind of in the I'm kind of questioning what we have next a little bit, because is that one we've already read or not?
It is. I put the wrong one on there. So what we're going to do, Zach, is we'll go back to our current reading list right now. Yes. Go back to our current
Okay.
reading list. Okay. And Jeg had replaced it. I think
Oh,
he had not replaced it whenever I populated it to here, so I didn't bring it in. So let's go back to our current reading list. Okay. Thank
okay.
you, sir. Because I actually looked to see what was there. And then I missed.
Is it the top one?
Uh yes. The Weight of a Ghost is what
Okay.
Jeg has on there now. So let's read that one here.
Sure. All
Okay.
right. All right. The weight
Problem
of a
solved.
ghost.
Thank you, Zach, for keeping me in
Absolutely.
line there.
All right. Regret walked on a city street at midnight's hour. Thoughts illuminated by streetlight's pale shower. Solitude was a comfort and an echo of goodbye. Nothing made a sound. Even the wind didn't sigh. A mute shadow trailed behind, clothed in black doubt, unable to ask what the quiet steps were about. All the while, his mind tried to calculate the cost of an almost, but it was like trying to measure the weight of a ghost. End poem.
Oh, I love that line. That is a great closing line. His mind tried to calculate the cost of an almost, but it was like trying to measure the weight of a ghost. Wow. That he built to that stanza so well with those short steps, and I love the picture too. The dark street, all alone and all of that. But he's talking about regret and solitude and all that stuff and ending relationship and how it made him feel. But I keep going back to that last stanza, all the while his mind tried to calculate the cost of an almost, meaning almost successful relationship, but it was like trying to measure the weight of a ghost. The weight of a ghost. They weigh nothing. It's so neat. So neat in the train of thought that captured me in that. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, that this I felt like that this piece really took regret and kind of made it into a character almost. Absolutely personified regret. Um, Whatever that regret may be in the relationship experienced by the speaker. Either way, it's appropriately dark at midnight's hour. I think um, that's I guess for the speaker, that's when it hurts the most, and that's when that's where this poem comes from. Is when it hurts the most. I think that sort of regret, and it sort of lingers, and it says what once was, what was like the solitude is. It's just thinking about that. It's just it gets the thoughts just keep getting deeper. Um, Really, when it, it, clothed and blacked out, that line sort of like it darkens the piece further. Like darkens it, like almost obscures it completely. Like because the mute shadow trail behind, almost like footsteps. And this is like the I think that's still the regret creeping in, but like it's still getting heavier, and by the last stanza, it just builds to that, and it sort of like it says, the mind is trying to calculate it all, that regret, but it's weighing, but like you know, it's like trying to measure the weight of a ghost because it weighs nothing, and that to me, that sort of epiphany, like realizing the whole regret, that whole process was just a lot of meaningless thought, in a way, and that could take hours of realization sometimes, and that's a hard process, and really, I think that last stanza is probably my favorite line from him, really. From Jeg 325, his mind tried to calculate the cost of an almost, but it was like trying to measure the weight of a ghost. It has a flow to it, and I just really like how it concluded.
Everybody that writes a poem wants that hammer at the end, and he got the hammer at the end there. That was nice. That was really nice. So, Zach, I'm going to thank you again for correcting me and making sure that we have the correct poem from Jeg 325 read, because the very next poem is
Oh,
titled.
how about that?
Uh-huh. Aren't we having fun now? These kids are so close to a collaboration, it stinks, aren't they? So, what's next, Zach?
uh, Next up is Garden Delights piece, and that's Yuri.
And it is the exact same picture. I'm going to read the author's notes too, because I read the author's notes earlier while Zach was finishing up his comments. This is another poem in the challenges between Garden Delights and Jeg 325. Contest, Sad Love, Isabella 779, 30 lines, 158 words, no AI. Image credit to Stock Cake, modified by Garden Delights 9 days ago. Okay, so this is the exact same image that Jeg 325 just wrote to. And it is titled Shadow on a Moonlit Night by Garden Delights. A shadow drifts at the edge of my vision, like a guardian angel or a beloved pet. Distant, but present. Present, but nameless. Like the thing lodged in my chest, a silent, unnamed squatter, as if waiting to lower the boom of bad news. Does good news ever hover like this? I can only hope for something good. Good like her? I remember her sleep-drunk eyes as she stirs from her rest, seeing me, how her lips curl upward like a child on Christmas morning. She shifts subtly, making room for me, sleepy eyes closed, her arms spread wide, with fingers splayed, as if expecting the whole world. Well, I am her whole world, in the way of a husband. Oh, yes, good like her would be amazing. It would help me get over losing her. No, that's not right. I won't get over her. I'll go forward, one hesitant step at a time, missing her all the way. End poem. Well, that's sad, too. That's pretty sad and powerful in its own right. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah. What I liked about this piece was the narrative drive the most. I think I like the narrative drive the most about this piece. The transitions between the stanzas really gave it a solid beginning, middle, and end. Like the beginning was when the shadow crept in, and it was like comforting a little bit. And like it was good a little bit in the sense that it was almost like just there, really, not really good or bad, I guess, just kind of like you don't realize its intention, and then like like the speaker's kind of thinking about what it could be, and it is when he says good, he just remembers what is good, and then his mind immediately goes to her, and that's the transition. When he remembers the way her eyes look, and her lips, and I think like that sort of that moment is giving him nostalgia in a way, like that, just like the very specific sort of nostalgia, like him he's imagining how her lips look, like how they curl upward like a child on Christmas morning. So that's a very specific sort of motion, and very subtle motions, and like only the way that really I think people very close together, or lovers, can display essentially that sort of observance, and that's sort of like drawing upon that feeling of nostalgia and remembrance, and trying to essentially get as much as the speaker can out of it. But like it would be amazing, but like that's it's not going to happen, because the other's not there, and that's the end. That's the transition into the end. So this emotional weight to the piece that sort of is earned because of the shifts between the beginning, middle, and the end, and by the end of it, the speaker is just resolute and just completely bitter by the end of it, and resolute on being bitter. And I don't know if this speaker is really going to get over it. In the sense that's something that doesn't happen. You can't really get over that sort of loss. I don't know if that's possible for the speaker.
I agree, Zach. To me, it sounds like there's a hint of survivor's guilt to it too, is what it sounds like. When you're left after somebody passes and you feel guilty because you're going on with life and trying to find joy in it without somebody that was so important in your life, that big of a piece for so long. Because make no mistake about it, this is not a short-lived love. This is a long-term love that has been broken up for whatever reason, and I'm assuming it's death. I mean, that's kind of the way it's reading is, but it mentions, like in the beginning, like a guardian angel or beloved pet. So, the speaker is feeling that in this piece, I think. But there is two lines here that I held on to because they were really what turned this piece for me in a way that made it feel even deeper. And it's, does good news ever hover like this? I can only hope for something good. Does good news ever hover like this? That is so true, because the darkness surrounds you. The sadness just hovers around and takes you from all sides and all angles, and it has a sustainability, a longevity that the happiness does not have. Happiness is a fleeting moment. Sadness is more of a warm blanket that covers you for a period of time, because we don't just get sad for a moment and then happy again. We don't. But we do get happy for a moment and then sad again, ironically enough. It's funny how it works that way, but I love that line in there because it really made that hit home for me. And I liked what the piece was saying about that love that is gone, and how they almost feel guilty because they're trying to move on when they can't. They can't move on past that memory, past that love. It can't be replaced. It's a void that will forever be there. Oh, what do we got next? Boy, they're really beating us to death, aren't they? Emotion this week. Thanks, guys. You're doing a fantastic job as always, Parchies. What do we got now, Zach?
All right. Next up, we have Mario with three O's, and that's the Birdman, and I'm going to give that a read. Oh, first I wanted to read the author's note, and I think that's appropriate. This might disturb you the way it disturbed me while writing it. Okay. The world has ended. None of us were warned to breathe. They won the battle. They won the fight. The birds have devoured each of us alive. I always hear those calls for the only search. Here I stay in these woods, trying to match each break of a twig with distant flaps and lively chirps. Last broadcast I heard was all about mutated flappers flapping around the forest. Near within was the nuclear facility. I wonder now if I want to be one of them. After all, humans love to be at the top of the tree. Let this be the last right of the human being. Why do I need clothes for no human to adore? Let these feathers I gathered cover me whole. Let this blood be the last human shed. I cut my nose and break my bone, till my human disguise shred, and for the bird within to reborn and take over. There, I am no human now. I am a bird with beak and feathers. Now my kind won't bother me. The birds won't bother me at all. The Birdington Times. Madman found dead. A madman was spotted dead, a product of his own evil experiments, found deceased and breathless in the heart of the country forest. The human was covered with live bird feathers, which alerts for further investigation of possible murders. But let the truth strike in. The wise bird of our town found it all amusing and commented, "Oh, look at the irony. The ones who ruled the earth now wants to be one of us." Ha! Simple.
I don't think it disturbed me. I think it amused me. I really did find it amusing, but it's commentary on a lot of things. A lot of things. I like the fact that, I mean, the mention of the nuclear. Where was that? The birds have devoured each of us alive. That's terrible. The world has ended. None of us were warned to breathe. They won the battle. They won the fight. The birds have devoured each of us alive. The birds have devoured each of us alive. It is now. I like the way that starts because there has been, if you believe in science, there has been apex creatures have changed over time. Right now, humans, we are the apex creatures on this earth. We are the ones that, with our brains, can change the most and bring everything but the most fierce parts of Mother Nature to our mercy, to yield to us. But at the same time, nature does find a way. Evolution happens and things happen. But this is disturbing because it's speaking, let these feathers I gathered cover me whole. It's speaking from a first person narrative. This is a little bit of madness and insanity along with it. But it says, let this blood be the last human shed. I cut my nose and break my bone till my human disguise shred, and for the bird within to reborn and take over. So there's an evolution inside of this, of the speaker, who is trying not to be human, who's trying to become a bird for its own survival, I believe is what this says. So there's a little bit of disturbing thoughts to this, but all in all, it's a humorous kind of thing to me because it's absurdity but intelligence, and I like that because you get this guy. I picture this guy out in the woods, acting like a bird and all that, and he's done killed people. Like, it's craziness. It really is madness, but it's very enjoyable. And I hope I interpreted it in a way that Mario with 3 O's appreciates. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I really enjoyed this one, and this was just highly amusing to read, and I thought it was really funny too.
Good. Yeah. I'm not the only one.
No, but but the first stanza kind of reminding me of Hitchcock, but if Hitchcock were like the birds, but if the birds were mutated or something, like for lack of a better terminology at the moment, the birds on steroids, essentially. And maybe that might not be so far from the truth, because these birds are nuclear, they're near with a nuclear facility, and maybe that sort of proximity to radiation has affected the speaker in a way. And he wants to be he wants to be a bird, though. I think that at the end of the day, he just wants to be a bird, and whatever that means to him, he becomes a bird, but in a really brutal way. Kind of but not unlike, but not really how Seth Brundle becomes Brundlefly. I mean, it's kind of it's not a forced transformation, but it's like a willing sort of willingness to almost become about as much of a bird as a human being could possibly become a bird without actually becoming a bird. Gathering feathers and doing what you got to do to kind of have a beak, I guess. It's a very forceful sort of body modification. And yeah, I mean, I essentially thought that I don't know if how many I was thinking to myself, I don't know like how many people would he be killing people, or like would he be like flying or trying to climb a tree and just flying on top, trying to fly off the tree essentially? Because there was like a moment where um uh, like after all humans love to be on the top of the tree. I think like if like, or maybe that's metaphorical. I don't know, but like I still think because he would just die essentially. It would be like Icarus in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like this deceased in Breathless in the heart of the country forest. I was thinking like that newspaper aside that I was just imagining him just completely smushed from being like trying to fly and not being able to trying to find the right spot to fly and not being able to because he's not a bird at the end of the day. Yeah.
The song "Learning to Fly" by Pink Floyd popped in my head too. Because that's a very, very kind of amusing thing. Humans can't fly. We can't fly unassisted. We have to have mechanical assistance to make it happen. I thought that was a great piece, though. And I love the way it went because metaphorically it could speak of a lot of things. The humans like to be at the top of the tree thing, I took as our arrogance as humans, where we want to
Yeah.
change everything and be in control and be the apex, is what I took out of that. But you're right, Zach. It could be a literal, interpretation of that is the human climbing to the top of the tree so he can try to fly, which is going to be really bad for that human.
That's right. That might be a little too literal, but I don't know.
But it works both ways, Zach. It does. So I like that you said it one way and I said it the other.
Yeah.
What do we got now?
All right. Next up, we have Aaron Farrow's piece, and that's Eerie.
By Aaron Farrow. And I'm going to look and see. This author's note says, I'm wondering and working on myself. May never. I thought I'd pick my flaws and bit. Well, we all do that now, don't we, Zach? I feel in touch with that. Why would we write about the best parts of us all the time? Because that's no fun. You get nowhere with that. Here we go. By Aaron Farrow. Smoking, forever toking, it seems. One high or another, seeking that.
Norepinephrine.
Norepinephrine. Thank you, Zach. Wow. Norepinephrine in awakened daydreams. The high little Joey hopping into whatever floats the boat of a new reality. The nicotine or Cymbalta helps me smile no matter how life unfolds. I want the be like Emily Dickinson now that I've grown from Plath's Untold. I don't wonder about diet. I calorie deficit just to be sure I'm steamed lined. But you could tell me the new one that was the ladies in Pined. We're all on a bus of our making. I choose positivity. My story would kill many because I have a bleak eventuality. It's only a few years, but that's a maybe. So now I skip videos about fake positivity. How could it be so damning? Just think happily. Scroll to the dog videos so I can see how I want to be. I'll welcome you to the group, but won't say much unless you ask. I'd rather you tell me you like my boundaries than tell me I have a nice ass. So I guess that's one of mine. I'm learning what science is saying is helpful ease. How to be, what to do. I'm not a stickler for these things. Just have a kind heart because I already loved you at the start. Everyone is a friend until they do things that make us part. I don't like a dweller that tells me how to be, but I have to admit I can be hypocritical. But when you're running me down, you pick up my trauma, and I still have healing I need. I have friends that never have and that's mighty fine indeed. I don't mind constructive criticism, but acting like I'm not who I am, that's another barb to me. Relationships are complicated. Makes me wonder why some just flow. They're as smooth as a lazy river. To those friends, I'll just go. I'm sorry in advance. I'm sure you're also kind of just when you know. End poem. Oh, I like the introspection here, Zach. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Um, this one was introspective, like you said. Um, and really unashamed. It's a really unashamed piece. It's it's one that's very self-aware, I think, and like at a cellular level, because this person's talking about norepinephrine, which is mixed with epinephrine and serotonin in the brain, and nicotine and Cymbalta kind of helps that balance out to kind of like like bring forth the smile. And no matter how life unfolds, I because like this person still like does what they do, and it's a poet too, like Emily Dickinson, and not like Sylvia Plath. I think that's what she's mentioning from Plath Untold. She's, but Plath is lowercase for some reason, and I think I know why, but I don't. I'm reluctant to say why. Um, I don't know if I should say. Um, but anyway, it's it's bleak too, because I think like the speaker might have a terminal illness or something. And so fake positivity doesn't work. So none of those motivational videos, that they're kind of useless. So it's all about those, at the end of the day, those the puppy videos, the pet videos. Those are just endlessly hilarious. So it's like the speaker definitely appreciates honesty too, and it has trauma, but also fears that trauma is going to wear off on the person. I think that's a hard thought, really. That's almost abrasive in a way, I think. And very aware of flaws. I like that this piece is confessional in that way, and it mentions it kind of has a kind of psychology to it, and not just because, and partially because of the Cymbalta and the nicotine relating to chemicals in the brain. So it's very like I said, cellular before. And yeah, it just at the end of I do think like this is kind of like almost like in a sense, the speaker is like almost plead like or like talking to somebody. I think like the speaker's holding a conversation with somebody, and that person is trying to be in a relationship with the speaker, but the speaker doesn't really think it's going to work. For whatever reason, because like she apologizes in advance, and she knows that it's just like when and that's how it ends, and it's kind of sadly apologetic that way.
So, Zach, this is definitely open to a lot of interpretations based on your life. So I'm going to jump right into exactly what you pointed out, because I believe it was important to the poet, because I thought the same thing. I wondered why Dickinson was capitalized and Plath was not. And I understand why, and I think you understand why too, because Plath was a very dark and um, not, I hate to say convoluted, because there was some definite great points to the way she wrote, and she wrote in a confessional style, Zach, which is what this piece is too.
Mm.
It's a confessional. It's self-examining and confessional and stuff like that. And I think good things can come from those bad places, because I don't feel like this is necessarily it's dark toned. It comes from darkness, but it is definitely truthful, and there is that introspection that is honest. At the very least, the person from their writing as their perspective is honest. And I think this is a friendship that started out with possibilities, and then, eventually they realized, okay, when you know, because the friendship or relationship, let's just generalize it to that, a relationship has come to an end because there were things about each other that were not ideally suited for that relationship to bloom, is what I felt like it said. And it's happened in and time again, because from the writer's perspective, they're struggling with these emotional issues and things like that, and getting treatment and figuring out, the nicotine, smoking, forever toking. It seems like smoking cigarettes. I remember I was a smoker, and I can tell you, if there's anything more addictive than cigarettes, I don't want to try it, because nicotine had me in its grips for years. I lied to my wife about not smoking. I would smoke behind her back and lie to her face. And then finally, a little over a year ago, I quit smoking, and it set me free. But it's highly addictive, and it is soothing as well. It is, and it calms you down and stuff like that. So this above all is an honest piece. And Aaron, thank you for sharing that with us, because it was very powerful. And I like the way it read, and I'm going to apologize to you personally for stumbling on a couple of words. Sometimes I get vowels and consonants and just blur them all together. And Zach, thank you for helping me on that clinical word that I didn't know. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure thing. That one just rolls off the tongue for me. I love that.
I was going to say, it's one you're familiar with, right?
Yes.
Yep. So what do we got next, sir?
All right. Next up is Charles Grandante's piece, and that's Isabella, and I'm going to give that a read.
What a beautiful flower.
Yeah. Come to me like a zephyr that carries your sweet scent, a symphony to my senses. I will rain the flower that beckons me. Will touch you with my thoughts, for true love gazes, not with the eyes, but with the mind that beholds the soul. Your kiss as delicate as a bluebell petal. Our garden will surely bloom in everlasting wonder. The rippling heavens sigh in silence, as I slowly gather your languid mouth to shatter my will, enslave my desire. For in your eyes live 1,000 lovers of my soul, the rarest love of all. Love as precious as middle mist red, the rarest bloom of all. End poem.
Great read, Zach. I love the pace you took with that. It was really nice. It's a very sweet poem. And the picture of the flower, that is one of the brightest red flowers I think I've ever seen. Isabella is what it's titled. So I'm going to, nothing in the author's notes. Memories, love, nature, sensual. I believe he achieved that softness in a sensual tone all the way through. Love is precious as middle mist red, the rarest bloom of all. Middle mist red. That must be, like I said, that is one of the most beautiful flowers I think I've ever seen in a picture. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I can see why Charles was driven to write about this, and it brought out that sensual comparison between, a lover's eyes and the flower in bloom, and how beautiful it is. And you know what? It is spring. And in North America. So we need to be ready for flowers blooming and nature all around in that, the birds and the bees and things like that, and the inspiration that the rebirth of spring always brings to poets. And I love spring's probably, it is my favorite season. I'll be honest, spring is, because not only was I born in spring, but it's the rebirth and the growth and all that that is just absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And I love this piece. It was exactly what it was said to be, soft and sensual in a beautiful way. Well done, Charles Gradante. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a beautiful piece. Charles has a handful of sensual pieces, and this one was along those like with that lineup for sure. I really like how this one opens up initially, like how it like a breeze almost that is like a flower, but it really is the like of the lover that comes from afar. And I really like how the word rain is used as a verb and not a noun. I will rain the flower. That beckons me. I like that a lot because you rarely just see it used as a verb. You could say like I water the flower. That beckons me. That's kind of trite compared to rain, in my opinion. And I just like how sort of intangible the love is at first. It becomes more tangible, like the further it down the poem goes. The further like at first it's not tangible because the speaker's touching with thoughts rather than lips or something. But of course that's what happens later. It sort of unfolds, and it's a very delicate moment, as it should be, because it's there's a closeness to it, and I think this is the way, like only in a way that like that's like that the rarest of lovers kind of kiss in a way, because they're just like the passion is that of 1,000 rather than just one, because it's like there's like a multiplication in the eyes of the other, in a sense, because this person means that much to or the speaker means that much to this other person. And I that's just it's like as rare as the bloom itself. That kind of rarity. Yeah, it's beautiful. I like this piece a lot.
I did too, and I thought it mirrored a bloom in the way the poem was written. It was very slow developing, through the poem and opening up as it got further down. And I think you alluded to that too, Zach. Very well done and well said. What do we got next?
That's you, my friend.
Oh, fantastic. Here we go. This is Forever, Never Further by Unexpected Bill. You said goodbye to me yesterday. Forevermore, nevermore. I watched you leaving, and all I could say was, forevermore, nevermore. A cheat and a liar, that's who I became. Furthermore, forevermore. Regrets fill my soul like a fish in a lake. Furthermore, forevermore. This person's not who I want to be. Nevermore. Furthermore, I did not treat her like my beautiful queen. Nevermore. Furthermore, paralyzed by the pain I've created. Forevermore. Forevermore. Tears flow down my cheeks, the memories falling like rain. Forevermore. Forevermore. To live is to learn from our mistakes. Nevermore. Nevermore. Decisions were made in my selfishness and haste. Nevermore, nevermore. I miss my old life along with her face. Furthermore, furthermore. I can't win her back now. It's entirely too late. Furthermore, furthermore. You never can go back home again. after leaving it this way. Forevermore lonely, nevermore happy, furthermore sorry. End poem. It's hard for me to find ones you haven't read, Zach, but I found one. Nope, you read that one.
I don't remember it though.
It's a long time ago. I'm digging deep.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This was a sad piece. This was like more than a goodbye piece. This was like a goodbye to like a past. That not just a goodbye to. It's like a goodbye to speakers saying goodbye to their old life, their old home, and through a Poe-like mantra of regret. That's like in a sense. There's like I hesitate to call it nostalgia, but it's like just a rumination of what could have, of what was, with how the speaker should have treated this essential person that sort of led to this collapse of the speaker's inner self, what they were originally, and then like through nevermore, furthermore, with that repetition is kind of like overriding this. I feel like there's like a sense of like overriding the self, a sense of using that mantra in a way, because the speaker's gradually realizing in a sense that things can never go back the way they are. So that sort of there's like a change to it. I like that a lot. That sort of there's the instantaneous feeling of the goodbye at the beginning, and there's not there's like there's a progression to it. There's like a there's a pace. The pacing I really enjoyed. I hesitate to say enjoy for a sad piece like this, but and yet, you know, it's that kind of you just got to appreciate it because that's what it is, and it's just there's just a lingering sense of sorrow that pervades the piece, and the only one that it's to a person, I believe, and to the self. It's like it's to both, really. I think, in a sense, I think the person is apologizing to another, and for whatever reasons are left, I think, like to the speaker, and I think that just that the last line kind of hammers it home for me. Like, furthermore, sorry. That kind of sums up the whole piece for me, in a way. Well, there's a dichotomy between the last two lines, like it's nevermore happy. So that's all kind of soul crushing in a way, and furthermore sorry. So that's kind of like necessarily apologetic, I think, for the speaker. But like still realizing that they can never go home again after leaving it this way. That there's still that sort of that growth that you keep realizing that you just can't go back to the way things were at the start. Of that idyllic life.
I thank you, Zach, for what you said there. Now I'm going to say it is okay to enjoy this piece, Zach, because it is totally a fiction. I'm going to read my author's notes, and it will put you at ease. The three words I chose to repeat all sounded regretful and sad. So I wrapped the regret of a cheater's consequence around the repeating words. Written in first person for the impact. So this is a fictional. I started with these three words in this contest that I got to choose. And it was forever, never, further. And those were the three words. So I added more to the end of it to make them rhyme and give me some alliteration and do that. So then I envisioned like a typewriter, and I took the words and I plugged them in and then rotated them. So I used the same words. The first stanza, it's forevermore, nevermore. That to me meant forever, nevermore. Okay. So you were married, cheater, divorce, it broke up, blah, blah, blah. And then, furthermore, forevermore. Okay, in the second stanza, a cheat and a liar. That's who I became. That's what I'll be known as the rest of my days, forevermore. This person's not who I want to be. Nevermore, furthermore. So again, furthermore, I'll be that. Paralyzed by the pain I've created, forevermore, forevermore. It's going to be with me. That pain's going to be inside me the rest of my life. To live is to learn from our mistakes. Nevermore, nevermore. Won't do it again. I'll miss my old life along with her face. Furthermore, furthermore. Forever. I'm going to miss it. And then to wrap it up at the end, forevermore lonely, nevermore happy, furthermore sorry. I felt like this was really me clowning with alliteration and rhyme and stuff like that, but trying to make it just gradually deepen the sadness as it goes down. And from what you said, Zach, I think I accomplished that with you. And I appreciate the way you commented on that, because you get what I was going for there because you could feel it. And I appreciate that. So that's really all this is. It was a total fiction and me messing with words, just
wordplay,
going with them and seeing what I could do with those words to draw out emotion from somebody. And I felt like first person was the best way to do it because it's more believable that way. If you say, I did this, this is about me. You're like, okay. Well, so I appreciate that. And thank you, Zach, for an excellent comment on my piece. I appreciate it greatly. Now, what do we got, Zach?
All right. Next up, we have Scarlet Knight's piece, and that's Roadkill, and I'll give that a read. Dead on the road, white feathers stained red, going in every which direction. How did you get hit? With wings that might have carried you away. Were you too bold? Did you swear the car would avoid you? Or were your feathers too short? Your wings weak or broken? Unable to escape? Did you see the headlights coming and feel relief watch over you? An escape in that you cannot escape. Relief in the inevitability. Did you wander under the wheels willingly? No matter the circumstances, on the road, you lie there, crushed. And the passerbys wonder, why didn't you fly away? Why you let yourself to be laid to rot on the burning asphalt and palm.
Good read, Zach.
Yeah.
I should not giggle at this one because it got heavy. It did. I mean, it went from a pondering, and I'm going to read the author's notes too. They're short. Inspired by an unfortunate seagull. It's what it says. That's what I started giggling about.
I suspected that when I started reading the author's note, and I was like, oh, I got him.
We get inspiration from the weirdest places, don't we?
Yep.
Like, there's seagulls splattered on the side of the road. And if you've been around seagulls, you know they're highly competitive. And if there's a piece of popcorn or anything anywhere and you get one seagull, you're going to get all of them because they start squawking and going on and doing all this stuff and fighting over that one piece of popcorn, squabbling over it. And they may not be paying attention, and then splat. One gets hit, got left behind. Like, how did that seagull get hit? Because as a human, you can't fathom how you would get hit on the ground by a car when you have wings. How does it happen? Was one of the wings broken? Was there something wrong with this seagull? Was there a problem with this seagull that caused it? Or was it just not paying attention? Or in the end, did it not want to live anymore? Like it explores all the reasons that this seagull could possibly have gotten hit, which part of it made me giggle, but there's a seriousness to it, an underlying seriousness to it, because it does mention, did the seagull want to live anymore? You know, was that a possibility as to why it happened? And that brings it in and puts that hard-hitting seriousness to it, which grounds this in a way that it didn't have to. It could have just been cute and funny, but I like what Scarlett did here by adding that thought into it as well, because it darkened it up and made it a better piece, a more well balanced piece in my mind that I could laugh about and then go, oh, this is serious too, because I like being turned like that. I always have liked being turned in the middle of a piece. Your thoughts, Zach?
I really enjoyed this piece. I think this was like this speaker, uh, in a sense, cares for animals. I think there's like a genuine concern for the bird. I think the tone was overall concerned and sort of just not introspective, but like just wondering what, like, a remembrance of what could have happened to the bird in like a sort of a way that like gives the bird sort of more of a presence than the average. I don't think like a lot of people show compassion for I mean, there are plenty of animal lovers out there, but like, I mean, I just don't get like some people like showing compassion for roadkill is another level of compassion. I think like wondering what could have happened to that bird, and there's like suffering there, and also a lack of suffering. Like how could, like, was it quick or not? You know, there's like sort of like almost like a privateness to that sort of remembrance of what could have happened, like akin to a funeral. And I like that idea of sort of a human giving that much thought to a bird that's not even a bird anymore. I like that. It's solemn. Yeah.
It is. So this reminded me of a piece I wrote, and I think I mentioned it when I originally read this months ago when I first started reading some of Scarlett's stuff. I wrote a piece called Flickering in the Rearview Mirror, and it's about a squirrel. We used to live on a road where squirrels, they were the dumbest squirrels. My wife used to make jokes about them being all from the same family tree because they did the same thing. They would be at the side of the road and they would panic when a car came. And you could see the squirrel dash to the left, dash to the right, and they would inevitably make the wrong decision and try to run across the road in front of the car. Most of the time they were successful, but sometimes they weren't successful. And there was a sadness one time when I hit a squirrel because I looked in the rearview mirror and I could just see his tail flickering, meaning he was suffering, and I felt horrible about that. And I remembered it enough to, like I said, we get our inspiration in the strangest places. Great one, Scarlett. Really love the piece. What do we got next, Zach?
Next up is Shyamalan's piece, and that's your
The Contrast of Cosmology. So I'm going to read this quote here because this is what it's about. Because I have known despair, I value hope. Because I have tasted frustration, I value fulfillment. Because I have been lonely, I value love. Leonard Nimoy. If you don't know who Leonard Nimoy is, I've always appreciated his thoughts, in character and out. Okay, so I'm going to look down to see if there's any author's notes. Nothing really, except it was in a contest. Let me clear my throat real quick and I'll get started reading. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit of hay fever and spring stuff that, comes with the territory. But here we go. This is The Contrast Cosmology by Shyamalan. Because I have slept in the dim, dust-drifting districts of despair, not as a passing cloud, but as a cavern of collapsed constellations, where prayers fell like pebbles into a depth that would not answer. I came to understand hope, not as optimism, but as metaphysical rebellion of light. Hope is not brightness. Hope is gravity, pulling a broken star back towards its burning. Because I have tasted frustration, that rust-flavored hour, when effort circles endlessly around a locked horizon, I learned that fulfillment is not arrival, but alignment. A sudden stillness when the orbit of will meets the axis of meaning. Because I have been lonely, not merely alone, but existentially unaccompanied in the vast cosmos of being, I learned love is not possession nor proximity. Love is recognition. Two infinities, suddenly aware, they share the same silence. Existence educates us through paradox. The child raised in scarcity studies the sacred geometry of survival. Coins become constellations. Bread becomes the brief theology of enough. The child raised in suffering maps the anatomy of mercy. Pain becomes professor, each wound whispering the secret syntax of healing. But the child raised in abundance faces a quieter abyss, a vertigo of vast vaults of meaning. For when nothing is missing, one must search for meaning, as astronomers search the dark patiently, listening for invisible forces. Without contrast, consciousness would remain shallow, like a universe without distance between stars. It is the void that allows brilliance, and so the soul grows through a strange arithmetic. Sorrow subtracts illusion, struggle multiplies awareness, and love divides the self until the boundaries dissolve. What remains then is something older than identity, wider than biography, a quiet awareness turning slowly in immeasurable architecture of existence, that every darkness we endure is the necessary space in which light could finally be seen. End poem. That's good stuff. I love the contrast all the way through that, Zach. You know I do. You know I was excited about that when I read the title. Go ahead. You go.
I really enjoyed this piece. I enjoyed where it existed in space, how celestial it was, how scientific it felt, but also how introspective it felt at the same time. Wondering where the origin of a lot of things that come from, and how things are aligned in a sense, like how hope is a force that that is gravity and not what was it? Hope is not brightness but gravity, and it's essentially brightness. Bright, you can't. Because hope is a force, like, and it keeps these planets in orbit, and it also brings like a star back to life. It gives the star its light, but it's not the light itself. It's like the that which becomes the light in a sense, or without it you can't have the light. And it's growing, and I just like that sort of also the silence of this piece. It exists in like complete silence, and yet like there's like a it goes a lot of places, really. The origin of where anyone can come from, whether it's suffering, scarcity, or abundance, whether those three, it just varies between person to person. There's an understanding there. The speaker knows this, and there's also a sense of like progression and growing within the self, and as the universe grows, in a way, it's like there's a parallel sort of growth between the self and the universe, and love too is mentioned. I like how that is like erodes the self and divides the identity, and until something else remains that's not quite the self, but like much different and evolved in a sense and older, and a space where kind of light and dark could kind of coexist, and I really just like that idea of formation.
So I started after I got past the title, the contrast cosmology. After I got past the title and how excited I was that I was going to read a poem, I was going to get to read a poem about contrast. Then I started thinking with the Nimoy quote. Um, Leonard Nimoy did a series on, I think it was the History Channel, called In Search of. And this, I don't know if Shyamala has seen that or not. I can't say one way or the other because she doesn't say in her author's notes, but she definitely got the vibe of what that show was about with Leonard Nimoy hosting it. And I think he did a lot of his own uh, thoughts and things like that. He had liberty or produced it or whatever because it seemed very personally his. It wasn't just a show with Leonard Nimoy reading a script. It was Leonard Nimoy doing this show with his own thoughts and quotes. And it was very cosmic, and he had a great voice as a narrator for that stuff. And so I really got into this for a lot of nerd reasons that, it's just what it is, man. I'm getting ready to be 52 years old. I know, in fact, I figured out later in life that I was a nerd in hiding for all those years. But, here I am, jazz hands and all. So I like this piece because it was so beautifully done, and it had this soft thoughtfulness that Shyamala's getting really good at. Relaying in so many different ways. She used to put it out there in hard rhymes. She was a hard rhymer, and I noticed she's drifted away from those hard rhymes to using more alliteration and things like that, and pacing her poems in a different way and gently gliding you through them instead of to a hard tempo with hard rhymes, because there's a difference, and there's a softness and a beautiful like glow to it. When it's done effectively, and she did it very effectively in this writing. I really enjoyed reading it, but the thoughts were so deep and well expressed too. Kudos, Shyamala. What a great read. Love the piece. Oh, we ready to move on, Zach?
I guess so. Yes, indeed. I
think we are.
Yes, that's my read.
That's what I thought.
This one's called Madness, the Flame That Burns. And this is a bit of a confessional piece. Few lights illuminated the cavernous empty spaces behind armchairs, tabletops, corners under stairs. Shadows flickered behind us. Something emerged. A rancid thing enters the house from within you. Yellow skin pulsating, an ancient grin split its face. You've seen him before. His guise evades me. Mouth-watering as it creeps closer to your brain. Shallow breaths. Your pneumonia made it easier as madness phased into your aching skull. The countdown to your death began. As it twists its way, worming into all crevices. Full possession suffuses your pale face. I don't see how close to death you are with the spark. An inferno raging inside you, eating you alive. Staring into it, I see it. He enters me, and it burns. We made a little world in that vast house. You tore a hole in the fabric of a parallel world, unleashing a horde of assassins and hookers. Climbing out of the rip, trapped in your head. A dark conspiratorial underworld, led by my dad. Gunning for us both. I believed you, bit by bit. Footsteps in mud meant rampaging prostitutes. Visiting Dad while he lived in the basement. Mostly believed your words about gratuitous infidelity. Dad worked for the government. You were proud. Now fearful and paranoid, he'll hire thugs to kill us. Hiding in the shadows, the streets, you said, how his evil genius would kill us both. Your eyes sparkle with the hard shine of madness. I protected you, us, from the imaginary onslaught. By my presence, nary weapon or hooker in sight. Standing watch, passing sleepless nights, expecting gunfights, the glitter of a knife. Lasted 1 month in the gaping yawn of that house. Escaped in the hotel, but the cloud inside us remained in poem.
Good read, Zach. I know that was tough for you to get through, probably. So I'm gonna tell you this, Zach. I know what this is about, and I read the author's notes. Do you mind if I read them?
Oh, sure, sure.
How madness infected my mother first and myself, more or less through a poetic narrative. This one was tough. Had to write through tears. Image mine, so there's an image attached to it that is very poignant to the piece you wrote. And my guess is the concept of the piece and the image probably came at the same time, didn't it, Zach?
The image followed the piece.
Okay, but one right after the other. Like you didn't do this image and then write to it. You
No,
wrote and
wrote.
then
I
created
always
the
write
image.
and then write. Always. I
Yeah,
always do the piece
yeah.
first and then the image.
So the reason I ask is because your writing here really makes the image speak.
Mm-hmm.
It does. The image itself is enough by itself without the piece, but the writing itself makes the image speak in at least a louder voice. And there's an understanding, and I don't want to go too far into it because I think it would probably be better if you just told us what it is whenever I'm done here. But I felt what was going on there, Zach, and you did very well with this. Now I'm going to tell you honestly, I didn't know if you were trying to interject some humor in there with the mention of the prostitutes over and over again, but I'll allow you to explain that, please, if you don't mind. That way we can understand and get a deeper look into what this piece was.
Yeah. This is in fact a lot of delusions, delusions that my mom had at the time of her death. Um, and a lot of them, she like slowly infected me with her madness, and we were believing the same delusions at the same time, and that more or less the government. It was my dad was worked. He has worked for the government, so like she kind of connected the dots in a way that was very increasingly paranoid, and he thought that he was, or she thought that he was with like hookers in a sense that like yeah, she just thought he was the, like had this gratuitous kind of infidelity that he never had, and there's no evidence, but she saw little things that made sense to her that just like that a footstep in the mud meant that five or six hookers were there at some point, like she somehow made that connection, that she connected those dots somehow. And I believed her, and I believed everything she said, because the way she built it up at first, at the beginning, kind of infected me, and I was susceptible, because I was going through my own madness, and it just got worse between the two of us. And that's when we had to we lasted a month like that, and just kind of isolated from other people until we just decided to go on the run for a bit, because we really believed that we were being chased by assassins. Yeah, and in a hotel, we head out there for a few days, and that was before we ended up at the mental hospital, the same one. But that's for another story. That just that's just where that ended up, and after that, sort of accelerated her death.
Wow, Zach, I admire your strength and courage in being able to share that story, because this is not a fiction. This is how you lived in a certain point of your life that has affected you long term and affected your family long term. So, it's good to see you write about it, because that is healing.
It is. It's cathartic.
As tough as it is, that is healing, Zach. And kudos to you. And this is one of my favorite pieces that I've ever heard of yours on this subject, for that reason, because there is that healing, and there's this open honesty that years and years of dealing with things has probably led you to. You'll get there, all the way there, if you just keep at it. And kudos to you for having the strength to write and read it here and share it with us. We ready for the next piece, Zach?
Yes, we are. That's Wednesday in October's piece, and that's your read.
One syllable at a time. by Wednesday in October. Birds are singing, swinging. Red-winged blackbirds land on my seed feeders, back from their wintered hideaways. The juncos are migrating further north. Geese fly through the night, a ruckus of honking, waking me from a dense sleep. I stray, strain for coherent sentences, mimic thought strung together, with grass and twine, stringy, pieced from scraps. Morning sun struggles to gain footing on cold oak floors. March air harbors winter's chill, even as the ground unseals itself. Day is tested, nested in song. Birds know more than they let on. Words revealed one syllable at a time, waiting for spring. End poem. I'm going to go ahead and read the author's notes real quick, Zach. I get this feeling lately that words do not come as naturally as I'd like, on demand. But not unlike spring, they do come when they should, not when I want them to. That's so true. What are your thoughts on this one, Zach?
I really like this piece. I really like the noise, especially. The how the honking releases the speaker from his slumber, and I just like the how that sort of juxtaposes the behavior of the birds with um the behavioral aspects of the birds with the with how the speaker rises every morning, essentially. And there's like a sense of like wanting to understand what all those noises mean, because there's like a ruckus, like a chorus of noises, and just so many different birds. It's just like I really like the sort of wandering, sort of capacity to wonder what that could be. Because that's just I like that sort of that love of avian appreciation for birds, for anything avian, really. And because the speaker has seed feeders, so there's like they're not only there's like a caretaking aspect to this, like wanting to take care of birds in a sense, or just like maybe just observing. But I also think there's just like a bit of like an admiring, an admiration for birds, and an admiration, and just like a feeling that more that they have more to offer than most people would initially look to like wonder about. Like they have more underneath. That they're unique in a sense, and multifaceted, and I like that a lot.
So I can't remember, when I first started reading Wednesday in October, bumped into her someplace in a group somewhere, and I was drawn to her writing because it is so grounded in nature. She gets so much, almost everything she writes about has something to do with being outdoors in nature. So the bird feeders that she mentioned here are very much a part of what she writes about. She feeds birds, and she finds this fascinating beauty in the nature. Well, in the United States, and I can't remember where she's from. I don't know her bio or whatever, where she's from. I think it's Midwest. You have this spring thaw that we all anticipate. And I get very excited for spring and blooming stuff and birds moving and the animals starting to come out of their winter slumbers. And it is very inspirational. It is. To me, as a writer, I generally feel more like writing those happy, glowing pieces and stuff like that. But what she's mentioning here, and did I read the author's notes out loud, or did I just read them to myself, Zach? I forgot.
I think that you didn't read. Hold on, I don't think you read that one in particular.
Let me read it out loud then. Okay. I get this feeling lately
Oh,
that
yes, you
words.
did. Sorry, you did read that one. I just
Okay.
remembered.
Okay. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember
beginning.
because I started listening to you commenting, and then I started commenting myself. But it felt like there's a little bit of admittance to some writer's block, some winter
Mm.
blah, and I think she's very excited that spring is here and the words are going to come as the flowers bloom and the birds sing. So that's what this is expressing. It's looking for that beauty and all of that. And I do like that second stanza. The Juncos are migrating further north. Geese fly through the night, a ruckus of honking, waking me from a dense sleep. But it didn't sound angry.
No, it just sounded like oh, this is how it is. It is what it is. You know,
Yes,
it's an acceptance to it.
yes, and appreciation on
Mm.
some extent. So what do we got now, Zach?
Oh, we have Pac-Man's piece, and that's a willow at River's Edge.
It's your read too, Zach.
Yes,
What a beautiful tree.
I like that tree. That's a weeping willow if I ever saw one.
It is sad.
He came home with the gait of a man who's carried too much steel and too many names of the fallen, boots sinking into the soft loam as if the earth remembers him. Down by the river, the old Cumberland running slow. He sees the willow he planted when his hands were small enough that the sapling seemed a burden. Now it stands in a cathedral's posture, green drapery spilling down, as though the wind has taught it courtesy. He lays a palm to its bark. It feels like the spine of time itself. And suddenly he is 19 again, barefoot on the bank, the river pulling light off the sky, and his young wife beside him, her laughter a soft wandering thing that made even the herons pause. They used to fish here under the willow's thin young arms, lines drifting lazy as summer grammar. They read books they'd only half understood, arguing over some philosopher who'd never smelled honeysuckle. Those were the years when knowledge felt like a door they could push open together, shoulder to shoulder, until one day the door became a threshold and love slipped in as quietly as dusk. He feels all that at once, the old joy and the new absence, and it settles in his chest like river mist that refuses to lift. Then he hears his daughter's voice, clear as struck glass, rising from the bank below. She's casting a line bit too short with her wrist, the way her mama used to. And there's beside her stands that local boy, who's been lingering after chores, pretending the fish interest him more than she does. The warrior watches them unseen, his shadow folded into the willows. He noticed how the branches sway above the children, as if the tree remembers how to shelter first affections. And he wonders, not with sorrow, but with a quiet, deep-running gratitude, how could a single tree root itself, through his life, like a refrain, boyhood, courtship, widowhood, now this tender, tremulous beginning for someone who carries his name, and her mother's untamed brilliance. He steps back, letting the moment be theirs. The river remembering his oldest promises, and the willow, that stalwart witness of his years, leaning slightly toward the children, as if offering shade to the future once again. End poem.
I love this piece. This is Pac-Man's put out quite a few pieces that I personally identify with and enjoy from his perspective, but writing this piece and incorporating that willow, it's titled A Willow at River's Edge, incorporating that willow in the memories, that weeping willow tree in the memories of his life. This is a reflection of life, and there's a lot of specific things in there that are absolutely probably 100% true to his life, Pac-Man's life, that the tree has bore witness to, if not directly happening there. It's been alive the whole time. And he references planting the tree when his hands were so small that the sapling was a burden. So, I would guess 4 or 5 years old with his parents, whatever. So this tree could potentially be 50, 60 years old. And he's reflecting back on all his life memories, the good, the bad, the indifferent, all those things. But this willow is there, and it is a stalwart. It is part of his existence because this tree is familiar and it is solid and steadfast and stays right where it's at. It has endured all the hardships that he has endured and then some, because he puts those hardships on the tree and personifies the tree a little bit in that way and makes it almost like a love affair with the tree. A relationship exists with this tree that is beautiful and spiritual. And that's the wonderful part of it, because it is deeply heartfelt when he puts his hand, his palm to the tree and he feels it. That's a wonderful thing. It's very, I think it's what everybody wants to feel. You want to feel connected in a spiritual way to everything that surrounds you, in the way that Pac-Man describes being connected to this tree. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I really enjoyed this piece. I like how, especially the speaker connects with nature in a more direct sense by planting the tree at a young age. I guess at the behest of his father or grandfather, who probably knew in a sense that it was going to bear witness to all these memories, maybe. And the tree has really grown since then and matured, just like the speaker, and who's been in close proximity to all of it. And the tree has been almost omnipresent in a way. It's been through it all, and with the speaker, and in a sense, there's like a bond between them now. Like speaker has witnessed what the tree's been through, and in a way, I think the tree reciprocates. And there's like a relationship between the human and the tree, and a real connection to nature, specifically to one aspect that kind of one that definitely ties the speaker to the earth in a deeper sense, and I really enjoyed that.
Boy, we sure traveled it all again, didn't we, Zach?
All over the place.
They never let us down. They kick us in the groin, punch us in the face, make us cry, make us think. They do it all. I don't understand
no matter what.
Zach, let's talk just a little bit before we split out of here about a couple of things. First of all, you and I always say how many times we've done this is 19. And how many times do you get a message on Tuesday after I listen to the playback and I say, Zach, I think that's the best show we've ever done. And I'm not talking about you and me, how our interactions have been pretty consistent. We've gotten better with our timing and stuff like that. But boy, the poetry sure drives this.
It does. It always does. I mean, Parchies are the stars of the show. All of them.
We absolutely will never, ever take credit for us doing the reading and commenting as much as we want to give you all credit for the poems you submit. We're constantly and continuously amazed. You drag us through every emotion that could possibly be, and we love it. We love sharing it. The only thing I would really like to say is, guys, if there are any of you in the group that are continuous contributors that considered, even for a moment, joining me and Zach and calling in, we would love to have you. We would love to have some other contributors and readers and stuff like that from time to time, because we want to share all the feelings. It's so exciting for us to read your poems and then comment on them in a heartfelt way. You guys really bring it. You make us laugh, and we want to share that with all of you. And if you ever decide that you want to call in, reach out to me or Harmo on the group site, and PM us, personal message us, and we'll figure it out. We'll get you involved if you want to do this, because we want to share it with everybody in the group if you want to participate. And that's a
more the merrier.
Absolutely, Zach.
I mean, a crowd.
I know
Three's a
you.
crowd. Two's a company.
I know
Three's
you.
a crowd. That's it.
I know you. You never get bored of hearing me, do you, Zach? But it
No.
would be nice to hear somebody else from time to time. Just join into the mix. So eventually, hopefully, maybe Tressa or Scarlett or Noelle would decide to call back in because they've done it before. And if not, there's some other folks that have showed interest that may join us in the future, hopefully, when they get back to it. But we'll see. But also, we want to mention again, Zach, we're going to do a collaboration show or two. And you and me had loosely talked about this, and I put some information up on our group message board, and instantaneously got, I think, 4 people said, "Oh, I got a team up already with, I think, Dark Knight of the Soul and Pac-Man." Pac-Man said, "Well, I'm going to reach out to Doug immediately." I was like, "Okay, fantastic," and it will happen. But there's no pressure to get it done quickly. Let's get figured out what we're gonna do. And you guys, if you decide you want to do it, just let me know who you're partnering with. I don't need to know the subject. I don't need to know anything. You can personal message me or put it on the group message board, whichever you want. Just make sure that we understand who you're with, and we will organize this for probably later in spring is when the show will happen.
Out of the message board too, do you think?
Yeah, we'll just keep getting that message out and things like that, and eventually we probably only need 8 or 10 pieces really to make one show, because they're going to be a little bit longer anyway. But remember, that's 16 poets we get to talk about.
That's right.
Not just 8 pieces of poetry, but 16 poets, and the seamless way they work together or decide to not be seamless, because that's a strategy too. There's so many different ways you can do it with collaborations, and Zach and I have collaborated and we really enjoyed it, didn't we, Zach?
Oh, absolutely, man. That's a memory.
What do you think, Zach, of sharing that with these guys next week, putting our collaboration out there so people can see how ridiculous you are? I mean, we are, Zach, not you are. But see, I haven't read it in a while, and I want to go back and read it again because it was so much. It was so much fun. It was serious, but it was a running joke all the way through, Zach, wasn't it?
Right. And the tone wasn't serious, but like it was in a way.
It took us 0 time to fall in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I was amazed. I really was. It's really, yes. And if you've never done a collaboration, don't be afraid of it, because they are a joy when the partners dance correctly, when they understand the steps that each other's taking. Is there anything else you want to add, Zach? Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm just glad to read poetry as always, for the love of the art, and all you all out there, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They never cease to amaze me, Zach, with what they do here. They really don't. And I keep thinking to myself, is it going to stay this way? But we're getting these consistent contributors, the people that have stayed, consistently on our boards and stuff like that. And I don't know where they come up with their ideas, and I'm not sure if they will ever end. I hope not.
Nah, man. Every time.
Well done, Zach. Welcome back from vacation. I'm glad to see you. Glad to share this poetry with you.
Likewise, man. Always.
Collaboration next week. So we're going to put our collaboration on the board.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure nobody will think less of us for the silliness that it is.
No.
But
they're going to have to endure it, though.
Oh, boy. All right. I got to go, Zach. You have a wonderful evening.
You too, Bill.